Professor.
Good morning, Prof.
Hello, good morning, Rafi.
Good
Carol,
morning.
how
Thank
are
you.
you?
Very good. Thank you very much for joining us online. We appreciate it a lot. And let's just dive right into the questions. We really want to know your insights, Prof, uh, on the whole summit involving China, Japan, and also the Republic of South Korea, and also the United States. What were the key highlights, and from your insights, for Indonesia and also all of the ASEAN countries?
Well, first of all, we need to understand that the statement or declaration being made based on that meetings are flat. For those who are not accustomed to the international relation, they probably will say, "What is the the highlights of the declaration or statement by the leaders?" Well, actually, the statement have three contents that is very important. First of all, on issue of peace and security, we know that ASEAN countries, the region, is an object for competition between powerful states, namely the United States and China. So we want to make sure the ASEAN countries, when we are meeting with the leaders, that the leaders will not use ASEAN as a what we call the uh, object for competition. That's one. Secondly, on issues of economy, well, ASEAN countries have declared that ASEAN has to be an epicenter of economic growth, and this is very important because we understand that our economy within ASEAN countries is not has not yet come to a saturated stage. It is still growing, and the middle class in ASEAN countries are also growing, meaning that it is a good market for countries. But we want ASEAN to become epicentrum for the world, so that we can grow together. And thirdly, even though we are, becoming an epicentrum, but as the president, the chairman of ASEAN, current chairman, President Joko Widodo, stated that we want to have an equality. We want to have a benefit not only for the powerful countries, but also for us in ASEAN. As we see today, ASEAN has been given a lot to the world, but it has not taken any big advantage from what we have given. So equality is very important, and also issues like mineral resources, the nickel, has been discussed in the forum, because this is based on Indonesia's experience, where we have problems with our policy of making the raw materials, the end product is made here in Indonesia. So this is issues that is, I think, from what we see from the declaration, even though the declaration or statement is uh, somewhat uh, usual, but we need to look at behind what is happening when they make the statement, the discussion within the leaders between ASEAN and their partners.
Now, Professor Hikmahanto, later on our talk show in our dialogue right now, we'll have a couple of questions in regards to U.S. and China. It seems that ASEAN region, especially Indonesia, has become the tug and pull. We're the eye candy for them. But of course, we know also now you were also talking about the nickel and how right now, especially Indonesia, again has become the epicenter or the jewel where I think every from the West and also Asian countries or Asian powerhouses want us to be in the same pond as them. Now, I also want to ask you in regards to today's agenda, we'll have the 20th ASEAN India Summit, the 3rd ASEAN Australia Summit, and the 13th ASEAN United Nations Summit. What would you think would be, the initiative call they're going to make, and what kind of resolution that needs to be achieved? What will be the key points of today's agenda?
Well, with India, I think ASEAN wants to further cooperation with India. We know that India is in terms of population, it's a huge market, and we hope that in the future, India can become a economically powerful state with its population and also its economy. Uh, Whereas with Australia, of course, ASEAN would want to have also close cooperation economically, but also um, asking the question, very hard question, which is the AUKUS, the Australia, UK, and the United States Pact. Because for ASEAN countries, AUKUS has become an issue. We are worried that this may make the tension between China and the US heighten. So I suppose that ASEAN countries would want to hear on this issue with Australia. Whereas with the United Nations, I suppose that the leaders of ASEAN would want to ask the progress on the Ukraine war, how the United Nations is handling the Ukraine war, and then how is it going to end the war. I think this is also a problem that we need to hear because it has an impact on the region.
All right. So, Professor, as an international relations observer, you have also mentioned a couple of important things that Indonesia will conduct as the ASEAN chair in 2023, such as realizing the breakthrough in the world of economic growth and Myanmar crisis issues. Has it been done so far?
Okay, on the economic growth, we understand that Indonesia last year becomes the president of the G20, and we have proposed economies, how to make the economy grow with the digital economy and many other things, clean energy. And what Indonesia is trying to say is within ASEAN countries, we need to cooperate so that ASEAN can be an example for the world on how we can make the economy grow, not only between countries, but also within a region, within the bloc arrangement. So that is on the economic growth. Whereas on the issue of Myanmar, we know that the five-point consensus has always been uh, uh, a proposal that has been put forward to Myanmar, and I think Indonesia will try to um, have Myanmar to follow that proposal by, telling the junta military government in Myanmar to take or to take consider of this issue. However, the issue in Myanmar is not an easy thing to solve. And of course, we need to respect the sovereignty of Myanmar. But in various forum, I've suggested that ASEAN uses R2P, the responsibility to protect, which is offered by international law, but not using force, but doing an economic embargo. But we also need to have a cooperation with China because if we do not have the cooperation with from China, then I think the R2P will fail. And we have an issue with the junta militer. Uh, uh, Violating human rights of the people of Myanmar.
Right, and the chairmanship of the ASEAN summit was supposed to be given to Myanmar, but thus with this current situation right now, it is definitely cannot be upheld there. And it seems that this Myanmar issue needs to be tackled again and to be resolved in the next chairmanship. We thank you very much, Professor Hikmahanto Juwana, Rector at Universal General Ahmad Yani and International Law Professor at Universitas Indonesia. And hopefully that we have more time with Professor to elaborate more on issues, especially in our region. Now, we're going to take a break, but when we return, we'll have more news right here from the Messina Morning Show, only on See You Today. We'll be right back.